Monsoon has also returned, and so have the same frightening visuals and glaring questions, because roads have turned into rivers, homes are flooded, vehicles are stranded, and rescue teams are being rushed in. From Mumbai and Thane to Vasai, Bhiwandi and Gujarat, the story is painfully very familiar. The question is not just how much it rained, but the question is why our cities collapse every time it rains. Every year, authorities know where waterlogging will happen. Every year, the same low-lying areas are marked as vulnerable. Every year, pre-monsoon preparation is promised, and yet the first big spell of rain exposes the same failure to its bare bones. If flood points are known, if the danger zones are known, why is the city never ready before the rain arrives? Urban flooding is not only about heavy rainfall, it is also about blocked drains, choked nallas, poor road design and construction that leaves water with nowhere to go. And when manholes have to be opened after flooding begins, it shows the system has already failed. The rain falls from the sky, but the flooding is created on the ground and nothing is done about it year on year. Rescue teams deserve full credit for saving lives in dangerous conditions, but rescue cannot become the annual face of governance. When people have to be pulled out of flooded homes every monsoon, it means prevention has failed. The system should be stopping the crisis before it traps citizens and not arriving only after the city is already underwater. Because heavy rain is natural, repeated civic collapse is man-made. The monsoon will come next year again, but will the same roads sink again? Will the same homes flood again? Will the same excuses return again? And today the real debate is about accountability, viewers, because rain is not new. The failure to prepare for it, even that is not new, and that's why we need expert insights. We have Professor Dr. P.S. Rao, Dina SPA Delhi, special planning of roads. He was very close to that. And we have Dr. KJ Ramesh, former DG IMD. A very good evening, gentlemen, for taking your time out. Professor Dr. P.S. Rao, every year it's the same problem, and instead of rescue teams being ready, there must be an alert that has to be issued to the civic bodies to be ready before rains arrive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is nothing but a case of severe governance failure, because unless and until the agencies concerned act and well in time, we cannot prevent this, because we know that every year it's going to rain and we know what is the kind of infrastructure that we have. So we are not preparing ourselves, we are not creating the budgets, we are not creating the infrastructure that is required to handle the water and to take away the water from the roads so that people are safe. And we are not preparing for it. So therefore, the civic agencies, whether it's the municipal corporation, or irrigation department, flood control department, so I think these people are just not doing anything that is required in advance. They're only firefighting. It's only at the 11th hour that they wake up, and then they just try to do some rescue operations, but that is no good. So prevention is required, and those preventive measures are clearly not being taken. In many places, the infrastructure is just not there in the first place. And even if the infrastructure is there, you have drains which are choked, construction debris, all the cleaning operations, all that is not there. So I would totally blame the civic officials concerned. They are not prepared, and this happens again and again every year. So a complete failure of urban civic governance, what I would say.
Dr. Ramesh, you were with the IMD. How long does it take for a city to prepare once the alerts have been issued by the weather department?
Actually, instantaneously, as the severe weather evolves, development of the severe life cycle of the severe weather starts, there are designated WhatsApp groups. Instantly, all those alerts, color-coded messages are given, and simultaneously to all field staffs also. And even with electric saws, motorized socks, and electrical disruption for field staff from power distribution company, everybody are there. Field staff of municipal corporations, urban local bodies are also simultaneously alerted. It is a seriously response problem and a preparedness problem, all the more important preparedness problem. We are not getting prepared, as our professor said, co-panelist said. Enough preparation is not done, anticipating and experiencing the previous year's disruption. And Mumbai is the biggest example. Andheri underpass, even after 20 years from 2005, we are not seeing free from flooding. That is a staring example of our inefficiency.
Well, Professor, every time it rains and every time roads are flooding, they treat drainage issues as, repair jobs. They don't treat it as part of a larger, proper planning of drainage systems. They treat it as a repair job. This ignorance and, turning a blind eye to such flooding year on year is what is haunting several citizens who pay their taxes on time, and yet they don't get the relief that they really deserve.
Exactly. The question is, where is all the money going?
Into the
The money
pockets.
not there.
Pockets of the babus.
Yeah, so it is quite obvious. So, a city like Mumbai, the huge collector in terms of civic taxes. So, where are the investments being made? Are we really making any investment on urban drainage? That is the question, and we have no clear answers on that. It is only firefighting, as I said, that a little bit of repair of a burst pipe here and purchasing a couple of pumps so that you can pump out the water. But these are all temporary solutions. I mean, why should I need a warning? Let it rain whenever it wants to rain. Whenever the water comes, the water should automatically go out. Drainage system is supposed to be designed in such a manner that I don't need any warnings from any department. Let it rain whenever it has to rain, and the water will just go away. That is the way systems are built the world over, and we are not taking any lessons. And I think we are still in the age-old system of doing things. So that is very sad that in all sectors we are moving forward, but when it comes to urban flooding, drainage, and all these civic issues, we are still very, very primitive. It is very surprising and very shocking, and absolutely nobody's taking it seriously at all. A couple of days, people will suffer, and then after that, water will recede and everything will be back to normal. That's the kind of a
Of
thinking
news
that
reports
is there.
on climate change, and the authorities will wash their hands off saying, oh, it's not in our control. But Dr. Ramesh, IMD clearly issues alerts, groups are made, designated messages are sent to designated officials, but still, there is a very reactive approach instead of a proactive approach. Do you think that mindset has to change?
Totally, it has to change totally. Reactive preparedness has to be there. Whenever alerts are given, that reactive action on ground as per the standard operation procedure, that has to happen. But before that, desilting of the drains or desilting of the nalas. So whatever carrying capacity of designed carrying capacity of the drains are there in any city, at least that should be available for water to flow through. If desilting is not done properly and drainages are not cleared from obstacles and blockages, how can you expect that even desired carrying capacity of the drains will be functional? So that is the main problem. Forget about under smart city program. We have never prioritized the increasing carrying capacity of the stormwater drains in any of the city. Bombay is an example. We are spending money, but we are not seeing the results of it. It is a preparedness planning, assessing the low short duration, high intensity precipitation. That's what the climate change is bringing in. In short duration of time, lot of rain is happening. In 6 hours, 60 centimeters, 50 centimeters is happening. So you should design your carrying capacities. If not, so far, from now onwards, enhance the carrying capacity, add 20% increase in your present rainfall intensities, and design the drains accordingly.
Professor Rao, where is the planning, failing in this? Because like Dr. Ramesh said, our drainage systems are made for old rain patterns, but climate change is real and it's, staring right at us year on year. Rainfall is increasing, but why isn't, there enough allocation to expand the capacity of these drains? Or is the funds allocated and then it's not being used at the right and designated, places where it's supposed to be used?
See, unfortunately, drains are not visible. They are things which are under the ground. and therefore it's not politically a very good thing to make an investment in. We are investing in airports, we are investing in flyovers, in highways, and so many other kinds of things. Our priority is clearly not there in urban flood control and in urban drainage. Whatever you put below the ground, nobody can see it, and therefore it's not um, politically a very nice thing to do, because you can't showcase in that kind of a situation. But then clearly those investments are just not there. If those investments would have been made, then we wouldn't be seeing what we are seeing currently today. So obviously, you as the city expands, you need more and more drainage, and you also need sponges in the city where the water can be absorbed when there is too much of it. And then, of course, in the case of Mumbai, you also have the problem of the high tide and the low tide. So when there's a high tide, then the water cannot really be taken out. So what do you do in that? So it's all a case of engineering, water resource management, and clearly, we are not doing that. We are not focusing on that. Investments are required. Huge investments are required. We are not prepared to make those investments, it seems.
More investment now in artificial intelligence, but the low-lying areas can continue to suffer because AI designated systems are not probably helping the ground level staff to, meet that gap to go and address the issues. But Dr. Ramesh, is this the new normal? Short bursts of rains, overwhelming cities with floods?
Yes, it is a new normal and we have to be prepared for it, at least start preparing for it now.
So,
We
but
have
this
to.
became the new normal, I think, 3 to 4 years back. And
No, it
still,
started gradually from 2005 onwards. It became more and more visible. See, Bombay 2005 is the first demonstration of that intense precipitation happening in a day. So after that, we are seeing several of them. And worst of these impacts are seen in hill states. We are only talking about urban cities, urban local environments, but see the investments and the damages happening to those investments in states like Uttarakhand, Himachal, Sikkim. Run of the river hydroelectric projects are just gets washing away from the floods. So much of infrastructure, property damage is happening. Mandi to Manali, all-weather expressway, several times it is broken. Several bridges have fallen.
that's right. And we need a, brand new approach for this because the old approach doesn't seem to be working. It's completely being submerged year on year. And this is something that has to change. But Dr. Ramesh and Professor Rao, thank you for your valuable insights.